Joining us right now is Ohio Congressman, member of the House Intel and Ways and Means Committees, Brad Wenstrup, and New Jersey Congressman, Problem Solvers Caucus co-chair, Josh Gottheimer. Gentlemen, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good to see you.
I want to talk about this paid sick leave because this is one area of this bill that seems to be debated. This was important not just to put money in people's pockets, but also to stop the spread of this coronavirus. If you're sick, don't go to work.
Exactly. I mean, I think that was the key driving force behind this bipartisan bill. And Brad and I obviously voted for it, as did most of Congress, because we need to do anything we can to contain the virus. In my district, we've got 100 cases in Jersey. A third of them are in my district, and we've gone to self-quarantine in one of our towns. We've got to slow the virus down.
Yeah, but I mean, is this going to help in terms of slowing the virus down? Congressman Wenstrup, what do you think in terms of what else is needed? We know that we are entering right now a very serious 2 to 3 week period. You've got all these retailers closing shop. The level of risk seems to be heightened going into this next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it does, and also the level of awareness also needs to be heightened. But I think what we put into the bill certainly gives employers the opportunity to keep things going. And as you said, if you are sick, we want you to stay home. We want to be able to take care of you. Having that money in advance is a huge help. Obviously, we're trying to do things differently than, say, was done in Italy, obviously, where their system has been overrun, and they're going to have a lot longer ill effects in their country than I think that we will in our country, because we are doing things differently. The containment, the mitigation, you know, you can never, ever measure what you prevented. That is one thing that's hard for people to understand, and there's always going to be naysayers. So hopefully we're doing what we set out to do, and that's not have a huge spike where our system's overrun, where people are dying, but we sort of spread this out, take care of those that need help, and get through it. But we have to take action in the meantime, and that's one of the things we tried to do in the House just this past week.
I'm glad you mentioned Europe and what we're seeing over there in Italy, because I think that was one of the triggers for the Federal Reserve to cut rates as much as it did yesterday. They watched the Italy headlines and how weak things are getting in Europe and wanted to get ahead of it. But Congressman Wenstrup, let me ask you about the UK strategy, because one person on Wall Street is calling it the strategy of herd immunity. Tell everybody to go out, be together, everybody gets sick, and then it's a herd immunity. Do you find the UK strategy odd?
I think it's rather daring in some ways, but we'll see. I mean, time will tell, because they're certainly going a different route than what we're trying to do here. And look, I hope both systems are successful in maintaining a better outcome through this whole process. But they're definitely going a different route, and we'll see what the results of that are. I think it's going to be helpful to their economy, but maybe not to their healthcare system.
And of course, the president added the UK to the travel ban list. Let me ask you about that, because we are seeing economic activity come to a halt in the United States. Closings of stores, no flights, cutting down on flights from all these airlines. What are you going to do about the economic impact here? Do you expect a recession coming?
So first, the Senate's got to pass the package we passed early Saturday morning. And I think we have to come back next week and put forth a very aggressive package to obviously not just help the airlines, but really to help small and medium-sized businesses. I'm very worried about those businesses. If you close every bar and restaurant like here in New York and in many of our states, obviously this is going to have a recessionary impact. We've got to make sure we take aggressive moves to help keep people employed, to help our hourly workers. It's not just it's those hourly workers who aren't going to get their hours. We got to make sure they're okay, because if we don't help them, right, and if we're not there for them, we're going to have a huge problem.
So Brad, talk about what we're seeing within restaurants and what guidance restaurants and bars have been given in terms of what they should be doing, particularly in this next 3 weeks, or 3 weeks to 4 weeks this month.
Right. One of our local restaurateurs reached out to me to tell us what they are doing within their restaurants, and it's built up a lot of confidence within their customers. Here in Ohio, though, however, the governor shut down restaurants at 9 o'clock last night, except for carry-out, so we'll see what happens in the days ahead. But they put in place many ideas that will limit the potential for any contamination or infection, because what they're doing is spreading people out, limiting their crowds, making sure there's less touching, even down to things like we're not going to hand you your receipt in a package that is being used from one person to the other. They're going to have someone opening the door. They're going to be more and more vigilant than they normally are with wiping down in their kitchens, et cetera, et cetera. So everyone's trying to do their part, and I think that we have to look at the numbers. We're looking at data globally down to state levels, at federal levels, obviously state levels, and locally. And you know what? In my district, for example, what's going on in an urban setting is different than what's going on in a rural setting where some people live a mile apart from each other, and they're not seeing it there. You know, Josh has a different setting in New Jersey than I may have in southern Ohio in my farmland.
Yeah.
And so I certainly want to see that we have flexible options within our regions.
So when you see this coordinated support, whether it's the White House, the Congress, you all, and what you did on Friday night, as well as the Federal Reserve, I mean, what do you think about this payroll tax cut that the White House is talking about?
Can I just make one point? The idea that we're coming together, and and Brad makes excellent points. I think that showing that all sides are coming together, making sure that as a country we act together, and the fact that his small businesses, these are the same calls I got yesterday as well, how they're looking for ways to obviously help people, whether you're a restaurant, you're doing pickup outside. That's happening in a lot of businesses. They're looking for ways for them, obviously, to not just stay in business, but to help people. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the country.
Will you vote yes on a payroll tax cut?
I've got to see it, But I'll tell you this: what I will vote for is anything that's going to help people stay employed, and obviously help our hourly workers, and make sure that we keep all of our businesses at all sizes in business.
Because Congressman Wenstrup, you got a wide and deep package here from each of these institutions. Yes, you did what you did Friday night in the Congress, but the White House wants this payroll tax cut. The White House also wants targeted assistance to some industries that are hard hit, like the airlines and the cruise ships. Would you vote for that?
Well, again, you have to see what it looks like, because some of this is temporary. Is it just to help with the coronavirus? We want to be careful that we're not putting something in place that's permanent, or is it something that there will be a payback later when things calm down? But I think, as Josh said, what we are trying to do is have people not lose their jobs, help employers keep people employed, because at the end of the day, that's going to be a huge difference. It's very hard to get people back once you let them go, especially in what has been a good economy. And let me point out, thank goodness we have had a good economy in place. I think we'll bounce back once we get the healthcare situation under control and people have more assurance and the assistance is on the way. We'll bounce back. And also, what we are seeing too, Maria, is individuals are doing things. Employees are trying to figure out what they can do for their employees on their own, even if it means they don't take home pay for a while.
The truth is, it's very important for the markets and for the people to see the two of you coming together, to see the country coming together. It's just no time for politics at this point, at a serious moment in time.
Right.
Congressman, it's good to see you.
That's exactly right.
Thank you so much. Brad Wenstrup and Josh Gottheimer.
Brad, good to see you.
Thank you for coming in, gentlemen.